wants to be king.
Phoenix Mercury center Brittney Griner was arrested on drug charges after Russian customs officials said they found vape cartridges that contained cannabis oil in her luggage at an airport near Moscow in February.
This event that Brittney Griner has brought upon herself is really, to me, it's just a perfect example of the ignorance, stupidity, entitlement, and the future for every one of those people that find themselves subscribing to any of these groups, any of these ideologies, any of these people that are holding the matches that are burning the fabric of our country apart in the name of their own victimhood status. They should pay really close attention to this, because the pullers of the strings truly don't give a shit about what it is that you're crying about. They're pushing you to the front because they know that you're the most malleable, gullible, ignorant dummies that our society has to offer. And because you've been raised by other weak people to feel that you're marginalized and victimized and it's somebody else's fault, you're the perfect cannon fodder to set off all of what's to come. But when I look at this chain of just entitled sisterhood garbage, it's really a great talking point. It's a good place to shine a light and show why it is so critical for men to stand up and be honest and just simply live in truth. And we're gonna take this apart from the last idiot all the way back to the original idiot. Now, in response to Brittney Griner's coach saying that if this was a man, that he would already be home, this woman said that it's not true, but the real problem is that she only makes $220,000 a year while all these men make millions and millions of dollars. And I'm sure when she finished typing that and pushed enter, send, whatever it was that, she blasted that into the universe, she patted herself on the back and thought she really said something that was just profound. The reason why Brittney Griner only makes $220,000 is because nobody gives a shit about the WNBA. The truth of the matter is, the truth that no men that are involved in sports announcing or reporting or any of that, the truth that they don't want to tell, the truth that they can't tell lest they lose their jobs, there's a reason that women are paid less than men is because nobody gives a shit about women's sports. The truth of this whole situation is this: the amount of attention that men give to women's sports, it's pretty directly related to how hot the women are in the sport. And you can say that that's shallow, misogynistic, whatever you want to. It doesn't matter what you label it. It's just the truth. The truth is, if there's a male equivalent to any sport, most men would prefer to watch it played at the highest level, unless it's a drastically different sport played by women that are appealing to watch. And I'll give you a perfect example. Women's tennis is probably watched as much, if not more, than men's tennis. Why? Are women better at playing tennis? No. But watching two powerful men serve ace after ace after ace, very rarely get a volley because the level of intensity, the power level is so high, that's not very entertaining unless you're a real avid tennis fan. And even if they do have a good game, those games are few and far between. The game is so fast, it's hard to watch. But when you look at women's tennis, the competition between Serena, Venus, all of the girls that have dominated the sphere of tennis, that sport has never really wavered in its popularity. Why is that? It's because it's an appealing sport to watch. They're actually engaging in the sport of tennis more so than a lot of the men do at the highest level. And they're appealing to watch. If those women out there were built like your WNBA stars, there would be an ugly game. It would be an ugly, clumsy, uncoordinated game. and nobody would watch it. We would lose popularity. And you can go down the line on pretty much any sport where there's an equivalent. It all depends on what the women, the girls look like who compete, on where the eyes go. And women don't have to like that, but it's true. It's absolutely true. Telling little girls that they can do what boys do, that's not wrong. You can do it. You can do it. But you won't do it as well as the boys do. You'll never be able to compete against the boys. If and when a boy decides that he's a girl, then you won't be able to compete against him either. Now, as to the coach's statement that had it been a man, he would be here by now. I say, no, he wouldn't. I don't think that's true. The laws of Russia are the laws of Russia. And most men, I would think, I would bet, I would gamble, most men know better than to try to smuggle something that's illegal into a country that has a stance such as Russia. That is an absolute stupid thing to do. And I'm not going so far as to say that no man has ever done it, because there's a lot of dudes that play in the NBA who smoke. But if they did do it, they did it intelligently. They didn't do it thinking that there was nothing that was going to happen to them. They knew better, because men understand consequences. Men understand that if I do this, then this can happen. And I would say that if one of those NBA players, even though I don't give them credit for being very intelligent, they're still males. And because they're males, they know that risk comes with consequence. And most males who are on the path of being men would suck it up and take that, instead of getting on their knees, groveling, begging, calling about racism and whining, especially to a country that they stepped on the flag on their way out. So to that coach spewing this whole, if it was a man, it's time to give that whole narrative up. We've given all the ground that is to be given. And what we've got is where we are today. The whining and complaining and constantly trying to take more and more and more by saying, if it was a man, no, absolutely not. We've gone all the way to the point to keeping our mouths shut, to being complicit in allowing this creation of Brittney Griners, women who mimic what they see men do and expect men to applaud them like we do when the real warriors do it. No. It's up to the women to support the women. Men support what they like. This forcing men to shut up and then to rise up when it fits you, fuck that. No. Your player had no discipline. Your player, coach, made a mistake. They made not a mistake, they made a choice, they made a decision. And instead of blaming and this virtue signaling and acting like if it was a man, it would have been different, perhaps it's time for you to preach accountability like a real leader should do. Perhaps you should make sure that your players don't try to smuggle illegal contraband into a country like Russia. And you're the leader, coach. So maybe instead of pointing at the patriarchy, you took the position that is generally held by men. You're a coach of an athletic team. Be a leader. Be a coach. Take accountability and responsibility that you didn't tell your players not to be fucking idiots. And to finally, Brittney Griner, addressing this wannabe masculine giraffe. Listen, I don't care what color this girl is. I don't care about any of that stuff. The truth and the fact is, she gets paid more than most people who have real jobs to play a child sport and to play it poorly in a league that's subsidized by men. I would bet that every time they turn on the lights for those arenas to hold those games, they probably lose money. Every time one of those games, every time one of these circuses is put on to prop up these low-flying giraffes who can barely get over the rim. But we're supposed to care about this. And America's supposed to care about your fate after You stomped and wiped your ass with the flag, while you refused to take the floor when the national anthem was played, while you whined and cried and took advantage of the spotlight of the rest of the losers talking about how oppressed you were and how bad America is. Now you want to whine, cry, and buckeye because you find yourself in the crosshairs of a nation that really knows oppression, that really knows what it is to be ruled by an iron hand. You're finally getting exactly what it is that you deserve, Miss Griner. You're having to learn accountability. You're having to take responsibility for your actions instead of the sisterhood being able to come bail you out. So stop crying about the patriarchy. Stop crying about white supremacy. Stop crying about all of that bullshit. You made your bed. Lay in it and learn a lesson. Brittney Griner is getting exactly what she deserves right now. They shouldn't let her out. And whatever the penalty is for having that in that country, I hope they sentence her to the maximum to show her and the rest of the woke ideologues who have cried this America's terrible shit, to see that maybe, just maybe, America is not as bad as you've been instructed to believe. Maybe, just maybe, you've been being played like the fools that you've been. Free Brittney Griner? Hell no. Let her stay there until she grows the fuck up. And maybe if and when she comes back, she'll be wrapped up in an American flag and kiss this ground because she finally realized that she was full of shit when she stomped on it on the way out.